The debate over gun control in America is at a turning point, with state-level assault weapon bans facing major legal challenges. These laws, designed to curb gun violence, are now under intense scrutiny after the Supreme Court's Bruen decision. That ruling upended how courts evaluate gun laws, requiring states to prove that modern regulations align with historical firearm traditions. This new test is tough for states, especially when regulating modern firearms like AR-15s, which didn't exist when the Second Amendment was written. For states like Maryland, Illinois, and California, these bans are seen as essential for public safety, while gun rights advocates argue they infringe on constitutional rights. The legal fight is about more than just specific guns. It's a battle over the Second Amendment's meaning in the modern era. Gun owners claim these rifles are among the most popular in America and thus protected, while states argue they're designed for combat, not civilian use. The litigation is forcing a national conversation. What weapons are protected? How does history apply to today's technology? The answers remain unclear, and the courts are now the main battleground. The outcome will shape public safety and individual rights for decades. The fight over assault weapon bans is the front line in America's broader gun law battle. The Supreme Court has shifted from cautious observer to central player in the gun control debate. After years of silence, the Bruen decision set a new, stricter standard. Gun laws must have historical roots from the nation's founding. The court hasn't yet ruled directly on assault weapon bans under this test, but a showdown is expected soon. The Department of Justice has also stepped in, filing briefs to support state bans, especially in Illinois. This marks a rare move, signaling the federal government's commitment to defending these laws as part of a national gun violence strategy. The DOJ's involvement adds significant legal firepower to the state's defense. Now, the Supreme Court's conservative majority appears skeptical of gun control, while the executive branch is actively defending it. This sets up a high-stakes clash between the judicial and executive branches. The outcome could set a binding precedent for gun laws nationwide. The future of assault weapon bans, and many other gun laws, now hinges on how these powerful institutions resolve their differences. The legal landscape has never been more contentious. The heart of the legal fight is whether the Second Amendment protects modern semi-automatic rifles. The in common use standard from the Heller decision says weapons commonly owned for lawful purposes are protected. Gun rights advocates argue AR-15s are among the most popular firearms, making them constitutionally protected. States counter that these are dangerous and unusual weapons, designed for military use and can be regulated. The debate isn't just about numbers, but about the weapon's characteristics and public risk. Bruen complicates things by requiring courts to find historical analogs for modern bans. A tough task, since AR-15s didn't exist in 1791. States point to old laws restricting dangerous weapons. Opponents say those aren't comparable. The courts must now decide if modern assault weapons fit within the founders' intent. This historical puzzle is now at the center of the legal fight. The outcome will define the Second Amendment's reach in the 21st century. Maryland and Illinois are ground zero for the legal battle over assault weapon bans. Both states passed sweeping bans after mass shootings, only to face immediate court challenges. Maryland's Firearms Safety Act and Illinois's Protect Illinois Communities Act are among the first to be tested under the Bruen framework. The Fourth Circuit is reconsidering Maryland's law after the Supreme Court ordered a review using the new historical test. Illinois' law is under fire in the Seventh Circuit, where a conservative-leaning bench could set a new precedent. These cases are bellwethers. If the bans are upheld, other states may follow. If struck down, similar laws nationwide could fall. The outcomes could create a split among federal courts, increasing the odds of Supreme Court intervention. The fate of these laws will ripple across the country, shaping the future of gun regulation. The stakes are enormous for both gun rights and gun control advocates. These cases will determine if states can regulate assault weapons under the new legal standard. The nation is watching closely. The next chapter in gun law will be written here. The Supreme Court's conservative majority favors an originalist approach, interpreting the Second Amendment as it was understood at the founding. Justice Thomas, author of the Bruin opinion, leads the push for a broad reading of gun rights, leaving little room for public safety arguments. However, not all conservatives agree on every detail. Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Kavanaugh have signaled openness to some regulations. Their concurring opinions suggest that certain modern restrictions, like bans on especially dangerous weapons, might still be constitutional. The three liberal justices, meanwhile, argue for a pragmatic approach that balances public safety with individual rights. They criticize the history-only test as unworkable for modern gun violence. The court's internal divisions mean future rulings could hinge on a single vote. The philosophical split is deep, and the outcome of any case could be unpredictable. The justices' differing views will shape the fate of assault weapon bans. The stakes for American gun law have never been higher. The DOJ's intervention in Illinois's assault weapon ban case was a bold move, signaling strong federal support for state gun control. Instead of arguing public safety, the DOJ focused on history and tradition, claiming the banned weapons aren't protected by the Second Amendment. The DOJ argued that regulating dangerous and unusual weapons has historical precedent, even if those weapons are now common. This move brings federal legal expertise and resources to Illinois' defense, raising the stakes. Critics say the DOJ is overreaching and politicizing the courts. Supporters see it as a necessary stand for gun violence prevention. The DOJ's involvement has turned a state dispute into a national test case. The outcome could influence gun laws far beyond Illinois. America's gun laws are a patchwork, with states taking widely different approaches. States like California and New York have strict bans and regulations, while Texas and Missouri have few restrictions and even nullify federal rules. This creates confusion for gun owners and law enforcement, as a legal firearm in one state may be banned in another. The patchwork is a result of federal gridlock, forcing states to act on their own. Lax states can undermine strict states through gun trafficking, fueling crime in cities with tough laws. The iron pipeline moves guns from permissive to restrictive states, complicating enforcement. The effectiveness of state laws is limited by neighboring states' policies. The current court cases could impose a more uniform national standard. The stakes are high for both sides of the gun debate. The Supreme Court's ruling could reshape the entire map of American gun control. The fight over assault weapon bans is a clash between public safety and individual liberty. Supporters see bans as essential to prevent mass shootings and protect communities. They argue that military-style weapons have no place in civilian life and that the government must act to save lives. Gun rights advocates counter that these bans infringe on the fundamental right to self-defense. They argue that popular rifles like the AR-15 are effective for home protection and that bans punish law-abiding citizens. The debate is deeply emotional and polarized, with each side seeing the other as a threat to core American values. The disagreement is about more than guns. It's about the balance between freedom and security. This fundamental divide makes compromise elusive. The future of American gun laws is uncertain, with key cases pending in federal courts. Rulings from the Fourth and Seventh Circuits could create a split, prompting Supreme Court review. The court's decision will have sweeping consequences. Striking down bans would end similar laws nationwide. Upholding them would empower states to regulate assault weapons. The political fight will continue, with court outcomes shaping elections and legislative strategies. The debate reflects deep national divisions over the role of government and individual rights. The legal challenges have forced the country to confront tough questions with no easy answers. Whatever the outcome, the conversation about guns in America is far from over. The coming years will redraw the boundaries of the Second Amendment. The stakes for public safety and constitutional rights could not be higher.